Fourth round in Troy, Ohio. Ron Lechien, rider number 4, took the lead on the opening lap and left the rest of the field in his roost. Lechien would emerge as Johnson's number 1 adversary for the remainder of the season. With Lechien out front, Johnson settled into second place. The points deficit between Lechien and series leader Johnson was cut by 3. In the second moto, Jeff Leask, number 7, was the early leader, followed by Kawasaki's of Mike Fisher and Jeff Ward. When Fisher was temporarily hung up in the mud, Ward moved into second and set out in pursuit of Leask. He quickly caught him, but before he could make the pass, he was joined by Lechien. When the trio of riders reappeared, Lechien was out front and was easily pulling away. When Lechien crossed the finish line with his second moto win of the day, he'd gained another 9 points on Johnson. The early going of moto number 1 was all Ron Lechien. Kawasaki ace took the early lead and stretched it on every lap. Johnson, though, apparently was just warming up. The defending champ shifted into high gear and quickly closed the gap. As the pair of title contenders disappeared, the race for the number 1 position was on. When it reappeared, it was Johnson in front. The Team Honda rider went on to take the moto win and boost his points lead to 18 over Lechien, who finished second. In moto number 2, a tough Rick Johnson got even tougher. Jeff Ward held the lead in the early laps, followed by Jeff Stanton, number 8, and in third, Rick Johnson. The trio of riders hung together for several laps, never more than a few bike lengths apart. Then Johnson was all alone out in front. For all practical purposes, round 5 of the series was over. Johnson, with a pair of moto wins, stretched his standings lead over Lechien by 23 points. The top riders in the U.S. were running 1, 2, 3. Jeff Ward was the leader, followed by his teammate and title hopeful Ron Lechien. Right behind the pair of Kawasaki's was the Honda Series points leader, Rick Johnson. Jeff Ward would give way to his teammate Lechien and would try to hold back the charging Johnson by slowing the pace. If Ward could do that, then Lechien would build a lead. As the riders came back into view, the scenario was underway. Lechien was the leader. Johnson, though, had no intention of falling into the Kawasaki trap. He went to the outside of Ward to make the pass. It almost worked, but Ward, with a handful of throttle, held Johnson off. They went out of sight within a few feet of each other. When they reappeared on the rough Washougal track, Lechien was still in control, but Johnson, with the title on the line, had worked into second. Johnson would close, then Lechien would open a gap. As the moto neared the final laps, it appeared Lechien was well in control of the situation. If he held on for the win, the title would not be decided until moto number 2. On the backside of the track, the series points leader took over the number 1 spot. As he neared the finish line on the final lap, Johnson knew that victory was his. With arms raised high in the air, Rick Johnson took the checkered flag and the 500cc crown. A few minutes later, he had this to say.
Thank God it's over.